Hi, I'm Julie with Metro Water Services, and today I want to talk about the natural disaster of flooding. So, of course, if it rains a lot, then our rivers and lakes can fill up and overflow, sort of like a bathtub overflowing or a sink if you keep running the water. There's no place for it to go but out. So, the question today we want to look at is when it rains, does it have to flood? Or is there something we can do about it to make flooding less of a problem? That, by the way, is called mitigation. So, to do this, I'm going to tell you a little story using a model, and every now and then I'll break in to add something to it. So, enjoy.
So let's take a look at this model. This is going to be our town a very long time ago. You can see the river and creeks, but I also see a lot of grass and plants. I see a lot of trees. Wow, I don't see any houses, and I don't see any people. One thing I want you to notice is that I have put the trees on sponges, and that's to represent something special about trees, that they can absorb a lot of water. One person decided to move into the area, and they wanted a great view of the lake and the river. We'll watch carefully to see what happens to them when it rains.
Well, that was an interesting setup now, wasn't it? So, we are going to do an experiment, and we'll repeat this several times. So, watch carefully, and along the way, you can make your guesses or predictions about what's going to happen.
So now we're going to do some experiments. Each time we rain, we're going to fill up this glass with the same exact amount of water up to this line. And we're going to use that water to rain all over our area. So we're going to put it in this bottle very carefully. Well, look at all this water that ran downhill and into our river and lake. I wonder how much of that original water we poured in actually drained out. Well, let's pull the plug here and get the water to come through the hole. It's going to come down into a little pan I have here. Is that a lot or a little? It doesn't look like much to me, but let's find out by measuring. We're going to pour it into the glass, and let's see, you can tell we originally filled that cup up to the line, and just a tiny bit came out. That's interesting. Wow, we filled it way up, and we just got that tiny bit to come out. I wonder, where is the rest of the water? Well, let's look at the model. That area feels pretty soaked, doesn't it? And, so it does over there. And the trees, that sponge feels a little bit wet. I think the trees and the grass absorbed some of that rainwater. Well, I'm so glad we have all those trees and grass here to do that. One thing every town needs is roads to get around. So we're going to remove some of the grass and the trees, and great, there is a big road underneath that grass. Now, the road is crossing the river, so I guess we're going to need a bridge right there. And where else? Oh, there's another place we need a bridge. And maybe some more roads, because one day we'll want a neighborhood. So again, we're going to have to remove some of those beautiful trees, move the grass, get that tree out of the road there, cut some of that grass back. Let's see, we might want a parking lot over here by the pool. So we're going to remove some more trees. And again, let's put in another bridge. Okay, now we have a way to get around. And let's see, over our person that lives by the river, well, they're going to want to get out to the neighborhoods that are going to be built. So they're going to need to build some dirt roads maybe, or some sort of road. We'll get started with the construction here. And we're going to put in a bridge. Yep, they're getting ready to build a permanent road. So now these neighbors by the river can go out the road and head to town to visit their friends. That's pretty neat. But will this make a difference when we once again pour the same amount of water into the bottle and then rain on the town? Well, let's find out. So we're going to rain on the roads, and we're going to rain all over. Rain over there by the house again. Rain on their new road. Rain on the big road. Oh, the water's getting really close to the house. I think they're worried about flooding. But why did this happen? Well, first, let's pull that plug out, measure the water, and see how much we really got. It looks like more water ran off this time, but we'll need to measure it to really be sure. So the water's run out. It looks like more to me, but let's pour it into our cup and really compare those measurements. So let's see. Oh, yeah, I think that's a lot more than that first time. Look how much. Let's compare. There's the first one, just a tiny amount. And after we built the roads, we had a lot more water runoff. I wonder why that happened. Well, let's take a look. The roads don't really absorb the water. The water just keeps running down, and it's going to head downhill towards the river, slide down the road, come over the side into the river. Oh my gosh, that water doesn't get absorbed by the roads, and it just keeps running downhill until it gets to that river and lake near our house. I think that does explain some of where the extra water came from. Our story continues. You know, the people that live down here by the river, they really liked the area and they wanted more people to live there. And so indeed, developers came along and they started preparing the place for new houses. They removed grass and they put in, that looks like a barn, but I think it's condos. And they're going to put in more houses. Yay! Now we have some neighbors right near us. And way over here, look, there's a big parking lot they're building. And that is going to be for a school. That's fantastic. Now that we have a school, I think we're going to have a neighborhood because people want to live here and go to this really great school. So we remove the trees and the grass and let's start putting in some more houses. All right, people are moving in. This is a wonderful, fun neighborhood with all these people here. Fill up that housing space. Now people can move in. There's even swimming pools, and we did leave a park. So that's fantastic. Now, guess what's going to happen next? You're right. it's going to rain again. And we're going to see if all these changes we made are going to make a difference. So again, we will add the same amount of water all the way up to that line. We are going to put it into the bottle. Well, let's take a look and see where all the water went as it ran downhill. Oh my gosh, our poor friends. It looks like the water is flooding them. Well, they didn't always flood, but now they're flooding. Look how close they are. Oh, that's terrible. I wonder what has changed. Well, let's measure this water and see if it really is that much more. So down the water goes. Wow, it's taking a long time to drain. This is going to be quite interesting. So let's pull out my pan. Oh, it's making waves. There's so much water. Look at that. Well, let's make sure. Let's pour it into the cup so we can really measure it. Oh, wow. It's really close to the line of how much water we originally used. The time before, number 2, well, we have a lot more than that. And number 1, well, it barely had any in it. Wow, this has made a really huge difference in the amount of water running off into our river.
Well, if people cause the problem by accident, then I think that by thinking really hard and making really great new choices, we can help solve the problem. Let's add back to this model now and see if we can make a change in how much water runs off. We'll think about where the water runs downhill, where it's going, and what we can do to change things back so that that water gets absorbed as much as possible instead of running off and causing a problem.
So remember our friend that always was flooding? Well, Metro Water Services bought their house, tore it down, and they moved. And we put trees and grass where they used to be. We do them. And look at this neighborhood. It has a lot more green where there used to be a road. And I think it's like a park. They put in more trees too. And look at the roads here. You see those strips along the road? Well, that grass along the road, between the road and the sidewalk, that actually helps to absorb rainwater so we don't have flooding in the streets. Wow, we've made a big difference in this town. So when the water runs downhill, it's going to come up into that grass and get absorbed, like right here. Let's see what else we've done. Well, the school put a green roof. That's a lot of plants on the roof to absorb water. They put in trees and even more grass where the parking lot was. And over in this neighborhood, now what's happened is the houses have moved uphill because when that water ran downhill, this area was getting really wet. And now they have trees and grass to absorb that water. Let's see if we're making a difference. We're going to rain. trees really are great sponges and so helpful. Now, let's see how much water came out this time. Pull the plug and, wow, we've got to measure it. Let's pour it into this cup. It doesn't look like very much to me, but we'll see by comparing it. Not too much there. Just some. Let's see what we had before. Remember number 3? Wow, that was so much water and things were flooding. We've done a great job. Let's keep comparing. What about the second time we did this when we built roads? We had a lot more runoff and we're starting to get flooding in our house. That's a big difference. And then finally, remember when we started and we just had trees and grass all over the place and we had just a tiny bit of runoff? Look, we're almost back to that point. We have done an incredible job really reducing the amount of runoff with some of the choices that we made.
Wow, we really did make a difference with our different choices, didn't we? This is great because you know what? This is something people really are doing all over Nashville and all over the country. Now, there's something that we can all do, and that is to help plant more trees. Remember, they're just giant sponges waiting to absorb all that water with their roots. So we have a program in Nashville called Root Nashville, and the goal is to plant 500,000 trees by the year 2050. That's a huge goal, and I think we can all help out either by volunteering or planting a tree in your own yard. And this is something that you can help with too. Put your engineering mind to work and think about all of the changes that maybe you'll be able to make one day in how we deal with flooding. So thanks again for watching, and to learn more, please go to our website.